Hello again, it's Lock Noob, and inside this box is a lock which, well, it took me by surprise in sort of a good way, a challenging way actually, and this is the Abloy Disklock. It's not like an Abloy classic disc detainer. The Disklock is a particular type of Abloy lock, and sadly there's no key with this, and I have to say in advance this was sent to me by Daz Evers, an excellent and very skilled lock picker. Please do go check out his channel if you haven't done so already. Anyway, this lock did take me a bit by surprise. Why? Well, I actually thought because it has a keyway which you can use a rear, just a standard rear tensioning disc pick in, I thought that this lock would be, well, a bit more simple than an Abloy Classic, and that's just not true. So I have a silver bullet with a rear tensioning disc, and this is profiled properly like that. Now, you could modify a Chinese rear tensioning disc pick if you're very careful, but you know that would be difficult. A specialized tool is preferred. You can not front tension this at all, or tension off like the second or third disc. There's a specific reason why you can't. But yes, it's definitely not like an Abloy Classic. It is a lot harder actually. And when I checked on the, I mean I don't do that very often, but I checked on the Reddit lockpicking thread, whatever you want to call that, and the lockpicking Reddit, and looked at their belt rankings and found out that this was actually a red belt lock. And after picking it, I can tell you that that is definitely true. Now, I will gut this later, and I might do a follow-up rebuild on my side channel, Side Noob. Go check that out if I've published it. But I can tell you for one, this lock is, in a way, it's very similar to, I think, the Abus Plus, in that there's two sort of modified discs in here. In this one, instead of disc 1 and the first disc, sorry, the last disc and the first disc, as in the Abus, the last disc and the fourth disc is a special disc which both need to be in the correct position for any of the other discs to tension. It'll make more sense when I show you the discs. To do that, I will rotate all of the discs fully clockwise, and that will make sure that the last disc and the fourth disc are in the right position. It does, however, mean that it's a little harder to pick, because this lock, I personally find, is easier to pick when you rotate the discs clockwise. So I'll probably have to rotate the discs anti-clockwise first, then sort of pick them again, or pick them forward. So it's a bit of a two-stage process. Yeah, so the discs do like to be picked clockwise on this. There are tons and tons of false gates in this. The true gates feel different. Especially the more of the discs you get into a true gate, the more positive the true gate feel is. There might be a small movement, I find, on the tensioning tool when I'm in a true gate, plus they tend to be harder to rotate out of as well. You need more torque on the turning tool to get out of the true gates. What else can I tell you about this lock? It definitely, when tensioned at the rear, binds from the last disc, which is disc, I think, 11, all the way up to disc 1, and pretty much in that order. Although it has to be said that discs 1 to 3, I just find no matter how I tension it, they're a lot harder to feel the gates on. So even though I've picked this, I think, twice now, and there's no key, so it's a bit of a blind pick. The top 3 discs are a little bit, I wouldn't say random, but they take a while. You always need to get at least one of those in the right position for the other ones to have a little bit more feedback on them. It's hard to describe, but definitely it's sort of easier to pick bottom up, and pretty much in that disc order. Although there might be some sort of readjusting as you go back down the lock. So you tend to go up and then down, then up and then down. Anything else I can say about this? You could actually tension off disc 4 if you had a center tensioning pick, but I don't know what the advantage of doing that would be at all, as it happens. So I generally wouldn't bother doing that. Yeah, I'm just trying to look through my notes on this because, you know, I actually made some notes about this because I found it quite interesting. There weren't many videos on this lock, so I wanted to make sure that anything that could be useful to other pickers trying to pick this, I've got out there. So I think that's the main point. In terms of practicing, a lock like this, generally speaking, I would do what Lockpicking Lawyer does and take one apart and see what's on the inside first. And I did that before I watched any videos, which is a really dumb thing to do because the guts basically exploded on me and it took me forever to figure out how to put it back together. There was an excellent video from Lockpickers United who did a gutting of this, and that really helped me put this back together. And there are some nuances there, so when I put mine back together, hopefully I'll be able to cover some of those off and add some comments of my own. So when you're practicing one of these, what I'd say is it really helps, one, if you have the key. I don't, but it'd be really helpful to, you know, sort of read the key if you are practicing picking these. Clearly that isn't a clean pick if you are reading the key, but it's a good technique if you want to try to learn a lock for the first time. I didn't have that luxury. It's good to take it apart. You can't sort of necessarily read the disc positions on this. It's very hard to do that by looking at the discs, but it's good to see how it actually works, and that was really helpful for me to actually visually see, oh, that's how it works, that's what those discs mean. Knowledge of locks is really paramount in terms of being able to understand how to attack them. So for example, knowing that the fourth and the last disc on this need to be in their fully picked positions to tension the other discs. If you didn't know that, you'd be struggling for a very long time on this lock. And then, of course, once you pick it once or twice, then you'll start to build up a bit of a map in your head about roughly how it's going to behave. It's a bit of a muscle memory there, so a bit like any lock, pin tumblers, lever locks, you sort of, once you picked it once or twice, the next few pickings of it will just be a bit faster and a bit faster and a bit faster. So yeah, sorry about the preamble on this, but you know, this is actually quite a tough pick. It took me a while to get down. I did my research, I took it apart, reassembled it, picked it, repicked it a few times, a couple of times, and then here we are doing a video on it. So I think I've exhausted all my notes and everything I need to do, so I'm going to remove this, remove the background, get a bit more space, get some extra height on the camera for you, and then we'll have a go at picking it and then gutting it and then reassemble it on my other channel. So it's all sorts of change here. I've just gone to my older background and it gives me a bit of a wider frame for the camera. I just want to try and get as much of the pick in as I can. This is the pick, it's a silver bullet. The only modification I've done to this is I've counted down to the fourth disc and I put a little line on it there. That helps me avoid it when I am picking the lock. I'd love to show the key working in it, but clearly I can't. For the very apt reason that I don't have the key. So, and then I'm just going to get something to turn all the discs. So that's now sort of closed, and it needs to rotate clockwise to retract this back, I think. So let's rotate all the discs fully clockwise. Okay. Then we can insert this tool, and I'll get the side where I've got my mark, and I think that's the right side there. And do that, and then slide this in all the way to the bottom, and I'm tensioning off the top here. And the other thing to remember is that you have to keep this centered. The only two discs with a profile on there are discs 1 and 4, but the discs are very, very thin, and if you don't watch out, then you'll slip off the discs. So like I said, just medium to light tension, and we're just trying to find the first disc. And remember, we've rotated them all clockwise, so what I'll probably do first is, once I find that first disc, is get on it and then rotate it all the way back, and then move forwards a bit, make sure it's all the way back, that's it. And then it's binding, so I think that's in a gate. I'm going to leave it. The other thing is, oh, by the way, if you think you're in a gate, it's best to leave it and come back to it, purely because the sidebar will bind deeper anyway, or give you better binding on other discs if at least you've got yourself into a false gate. So you know, if you're unsure, that's fine, but at least get it into some position. Okay, that was a disc 11.10.9. This is disc 9 now. Rotate it back, rotate it forwards. I think about there. Okay, good. Back up again. Try to get onto the next disc here. Okay. Rotate it back. Go forwards again. It's binding, so, and it feels, yeah, it feels like it's somewhere around here. I'm going to leave it again, just leave it and come back to it. Let's have a go at this one. About there, I think. Again, it's not about getting it. That's a tensioning disc, so I need to leave that exactly where it is. Let's go back up to disc 3 now and see if there's anything. I can't even feel anything on that one. Oh, a little bit or something. Try another disc. Yeah, these top discs are not really feeling anything, so I'm going to move them over to the anti-clockwise position to get a better run at it when I get there, because like I said, they're better picked clockwise. Right, back to the bottom, and let's refine our picking. Okay, that's more solid there. Okay, good. That's solid there, good. Don't know where we left this one now. Go forwards again. Oh, do you know what? That's in the gate. Good. Sure of it. So, trying to feel this one now. I don't know what disc we're on. Maybe disc 6. Okay. There's another disc here. And that feels solid. It's weird once you've gone the second pass through and you refined it, when it's in a true gate, you will feel it more. I wonder if I can then feel these other discs at the top now, where they were a bit more difficult to sort of feel. Yeah, okay, that's better. That's disc 3. Oh yeah, they're definitely feeling a bit more. Maybe that one. Is that the last disc? No, I'm out of the lock at that point. So let's try and work back from here. There we go. Oh, that was a lovely click. Okay, that was a really nice click, that one. So does that mean that this next disc is better? Yeah, maybe. And okay, back to the bottom again. Let's refine it again. Okay, that's solid. That's solid. By solid, I mean I can feel it's in what I think is a true gate. That's really bound tight. I think that's good. That feels good. Actually, I think I might leave that one there. That feels good too. Yeah, nice, nice. Just had to release the tension on that. It was yeah. Okay, that's good. One. So sorry. Disc 1. Disc 4 is good. Next disc, struggling. I'm going to try and get on it. That's it. Got it there. Definitely binding more now. Sure, I felt something there. Is there any more? Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Next disc is here. Next disc. I'm on it? Yeah. Oh, okay. So whatever disc that is, I'm peeking in the top and it looks like disc 1. That is definitely in the gate now. Let's try and find disc 2. Move forwards on it. Okay, that feels good. Disc 3. Again, that feels good. Disc. Keep someone say disc 1 again. Disc 4, which of course has to be all the way round. Disc 5, that feels good now. Disc 6 is definitely in a gate. Try and find it. Yeah. 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 Oh, I slid off that. I can't move that forwards. Let's rotate it back a bit. Okay, let's try and do last pass through if I can. In a gate, in a gate. I can feel it. It's really heavily binding out. I'm pretty sure that's in a gate. That doesn't want to come out, so that's good. Rotate that out a bit. Okay, I think that's good. Let's have a look at this one. Come here. Can't get onto that disc. Come here, you. So that's that disc. That's that disc. Oh, and we've got an open. Let's see if I can retract that back. Boy, how do I do it? Like that. There you go. See? There we go. That did take a while, but you just have to be just persevere with it. And another thing I found is that sometimes if you want to just test something and it won't move freely either way at all, you might need to back off the tension. It's like binding too much, and then you can sort of skip out of a deep false gate. Some of the false gates are so deep and sort of back off the tension a little bit to even move to the next false gate or true gate. So there we go. That's fully open now, and let's gut it. Oh, that's actually, like I said, it's quite difficult. Certainly around a minute per disc, I'd say, is about where I calculate that is. So anyway, you can see I've got full control over the mechanism now. I'm going to actually just well, I don't care which way we get it out. I just want to make sure that I can remove the tool. Then we'll have a look at gutting it. Luckily, in some ways, gutting it is actually relatively simple. Now we can show you how it works. Again, shame I don't have the key, but I guess it doesn't matter too much. So what you're seeing here is a little sprung mechanism. I don't really know what it's for. I think it acts like a flat ball bearing, and it's on a little spring. Other than that, I've got no idea. I just add some lubrication between the plate and the lock, I think. It got a little grub screw here, which was there you go, undone. But I think that you can probably put that in to stop the core rotating too far, and or something. Probably holding it in a bit tighter. I'm not entirely sure. It doesn't appear to do an awful lot, but you can screw it up. Pushing this out. Be very careful when you do this now. Mostly because there's the sidebar. The sidebar is here, and it's sprung, so you want to just make sure. Now there's nothing exciting about the internals of this. I'll show you to you anyway. Swap hands, and what you can see here is two positions where the sidebar can be detained, there and there. And there is the sidebar in all of the gates, just like this. So I'll put that there. Okay, so let's just refocus and move that. So we've got a little protective sheath for the sidebar, and then the sidebar itself. I'll try and lie this down without the disc coming out. A fun little thing, really, isn't it? It looks like a little walking stick. So that's the sidebar. The top here is just a spinner. It doesn't do anything, just free spins. And then what we have, where's my tweezers, is every other position has these little, I think they're copper wafers, could be brass. And you can also see in there, if I just show you that, these two little pins, and these actually, oh, there we go, these stop the core from over rotating one way or the other. If I had the key, you'll see that this pin can be swapped over here, and then this pin gets dragged over, and then vice versa. They sort of swap sides. And it gives the core only a certain degree of rotation, about 100 degrees or so, I think. Anyway, what you can do then is you can see down here still each of the discs, and some of them look like they've got two gates in. but so you can see here that it looks like you've got a gate here and a gate there, but I believe, because I made some notes on disc 1, only one of these gates actually can be in a position when this is rotated to receive the sidebar. So on this disc, this isn't a mastered disc, but there are 2 in there. And you can see here, if I can show you across, I don't think you can see that there are, the edge of this is raised, so you can see all these false gates on there. Let me see if I can get a bit more focus for you. Hopefully you can see you've got these false gates in here as well as these deeper true gates. So yeah, and that goes all the way down, and you can basically just pull these out in pairs. Now one of the discs which does have a 2 gates on, which do come into play, is this one. And well, you can see that this is, I believe, and I could be wrong, not an expert, a master disc, which means that it offers 2 different positions, so 2 different keys can operate it, so it's part of a master suite, I believe. I think in this lock, discs, made some notes here, 2 and 7 have this type of arrangement, so that's kind of cool. Let's quickly whiz the rest of these out, and I'll stop at 4 because that's where it really gets interesting. Okay, so this is disc 4, and you see it's very different. This has to be rotated all the way around to this position with the sidebar here. If it's in any other position, this leading edge will push the sidebar away from all of the other discs, so you will not hit. Let's get one of those other discs for you and show you. If I overlay them, you'll see that in the right position, this leading edge will essentially mean that you can't feel the sidebar rub against the other discs at all. And there's 2 of them in there at sort of yeah, basically top and bottom, or it's disc 4 and disc 11, and they really do rob you of all feedback. It's really quite strange, but ingenious. So yes, you do need prior knowledge of these locks to understand how they work, and I'll show you that last disc in a second. Actually, is there another one? Just trying to find. Yep, this is the other one, the other disc with 2 true gates in it that come into play. There you go. So there are 2, as far as I can tell, 2 master discs in this. So this lock was obviously part of a suite of locks which were part of a master keyed system, which I find interesting. There we go. There we go, and almost there now. More of these little spacers. The spacers act as a sort of lubricant, internal lubricant, but they also aid the picker in being able to move between the discs without rotating all of the discs at the same time. And there's that last disc which needs to be rotated all the way around, so this is facing the sidebar. And there you have it. Any other features? Not really. Like I said, you got these 2 little stops. These are just some steel pins which act as stops to stop the core from over rotating. The return bars, I think they're called. and they're kind of cool. And then there is the core. Nothing too exciting about that. Little spring for the sidebar. It's a sprung sidebar, and that's it. So that was the Abloy Disklock. Quite a long video, that one, but I really hope that it'd be a useful resource along with the Lockpickers United video, which I'll also link to for anybody trying to attempt one of these. They're not particularly easy. You do need to take your time. There's no point in rushing them. You do have to rely on the feedback that they give you, and I'd be interested to know if you've ever picked one of these, what you think as well. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.